the Nature Hacker, and this is your world. Today I'm joining you from the International Space Station, and you can tell that I'm in the International Space Station because my hair is standing straight up. If you don't think I'm actually in the International Space Station, then you are a conspiracy theorist. Alright, so today I want to talk about the future of cash. It's not looking good for cash. Countries in Europe are starting to ban cash or make maximum, basically making it so that you can only have a maximum of a certain amount of purchases in cash. So like in one country it's, there's a $5,000 maximum for cash transactions. In other places it's 1,000, blah blah blah. So they're tightening their grip on cash. And there's going to be two arguments that they come at this with. One argument is going to be that, oh, people could be evading taxes and funneling money, stolen money with cash, or let's say they steal something and then they sell it for cash and there's no paper trail, right? There's actually a place in Louisianna that is banning cash for certain transactions for that reason. Supposedly that reason, and that supposed reason is that people could steal things, sell it for cash, and then the FBI can't track them. So that's one of the things that they're going to come at cash with, and that's what seems to be happening in Europe, that these maximum transaction limits in cash seem to be of the propaganda that that this will help prevent people from evading taxes and from using stolen cash to buy things and stuff. So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is going to be that, oh, we could save so much money if we didn't have to print money, if we didn't have to mint coins and all this. We could save billions of dollars a year, and we could give that money, I don't even know, but we could give that money to the banksters, but I don't know what they would say they're giving it to, but it could save the taxpayer billions of dollars a year if we get rid of cash. Nobody uses cash anyway, do they? Just think about it. Do you actually use cash? No, you know what? I really don't use cash. So, see, there's no problem. We can just get rid of the cash and there's no problem. So it's going to be those two arguments, basically, that, oh, it'll save the taxpayer a lot of money, and secondly that, oh, we can avoid black market transactions and stuff by not having cash. So that's the thought process. Now, how are they going to implement it? And that's a critical thing here. Are they just going to say one day, oops, we took out cash? No, obviously there would be an uproar if that happened. They're going to do it slowly by, right now, there's a real incentive to use cash because credit card transactions cost, roughly 3%. They take a 3% cut of every credit card transaction. You don't notice it, but the merchant that you buy from has to pay that. And on my website, naturehackerproducts.com, I have to pay money to accept your credits and debit cards. But debit cards, I have to pay less. I have to pay around 1% or something. Credit cards, I have to pay probably like 3%. And if you have, here's this funny thing, like the frequent flyer, the rewards cards, you're like, oh, that's great, free money, right? Rewards. Well, guess who pays your rewards? Me. The merchant pays your rewards, because we pay up to like 5% fee when you use a rewards card. So yeah, you're taking that money from me is what's happening. Anyway, so what they're going to do is they're going to be like, oh, you know what? This is what I think they're going to do in the U.S. They're going to be really sneaky and be like, the banks are going to say, if you make a large cash deposit, you have to, well, first of all, you're not going to be able to make one over $10,000 without filing FBI forms or whatever. But when you deposit cash at the bank, they're going to charge you a fee, a transaction fee of like roughly 3%. So that's how they're going to start this, is they're going to start adding fees to cash. To working with cash, there's going to be fees. So if you were to deposit cash at a bank, you would pay a fee, probably 3%. If you were to remove cash from a bank, if you were to take out cash, obviously there's limits. You can only take what do you call it? A certain amount out. Like at an ATM, like for example, I think I'm limited to probably like $400 or something like that to take out of an ATM per day. If you want more than that, you literally can't get it out. And if you go into the bank, so probably what they're going to do is they're going to lower the amount you can get out of an ATM. Maybe they'll lower it to $100. In Greece they lowered it to like $60, I think. So they'll lower it to $100 you can get out of an ATM a day. If you want more than that, you have to go into the bank, and you can't ask for anything over 10,000. They already have that rule. You can't ask for anything over 10,000. But let's say you want $1,000, you're going to be like, oh well, you know what? There's a $30 transaction fee to get your $1,000 in cash. So what they're going to do is they're going to disincentivize people taking cash out. So that way they don't have to ban cash outright, but when they implement austerity measures, like let's say there's a 3% austerity, that they're implementing, which means like they'll take 3% out of everybody's bank account, but then if you want to take cash out, it's going to cost you 3% as well. So it's like taking the money out is the same as leaving it in the bank. That way they don't have a run on the bank. So that's probably the method they're going to go through with this. So that's what you can bank on. Haha, pun intended, I guess. You can bank on that type of limitations on cash, is they're going to add transaction fees for depositing and for withdrawing cash. And then slowly they're going to creep in with, we could just get rid of cash altogether, and then we could lower our credit card transaction fees. That might be what they do. Is they're like, okay, well, everybody pays 3% credit card transaction fees, and to take out or withdraw or deposit cash, you pay 3%. Well, if we got rid of cash altogether, we could reduce our credit card fees to 2%. That way, everybody saves money. We don't have to worry about cash, and it would be good for everybody. So they might go that route if they're getting really humanistic about it. But they might just slowly phase out cash. Just keep increasing the transaction fees, keep decreasing the amount you can withdraw from an ATM or from a teller, and then basically just pop, and cash is just gone. So there's that. So that's probably what we're going to get into. And it's really important to know how they're going to do it. Because if they were to say, hey, we are no longer accepting cash, you have a window of a month to turn in all of your cash or else it'll be worthless. I don't think they're going to do that. If they were to do that, then what you would do right now is you would change your cash into commodities, right? Into something of hard value. That way, you don't have to turn in. You don't have any cash to turn in when they require you to turn it in. They might do that. That's another possibility. If they were to do that, it would be a global bail-in. So they're like, okay, we're banning cash in every country that has a central bank. See, this is why they're pushing so hard on Syria. They're pushing so hard on Iran. They're pushing so hard on Libya. They're pushing so hard on China. Well, not China. They're pushing so hard on North Korea. Is because they want to get every country in a central bank, because they know that they don't want there to be any havens out there. When they want the global bail-in, they say that all cash around the world is banned. They want to say all cash around the world is banned. They don't want to say all cash except for Iran and Syria and Russia and blah, blah, blah. So they want every country to have a central bank before they can unveil the ban of cash and the global bail-in. So what the global bail-in would be you have to turn in all of your cash, because it's going to be worthless. All nations' currencies are going to be worthless. We're going on the global plan, and the global plan is going to be R3. Okay, R3 is the global plan. It's the successor of Bitcoin. Don't be fooled into thinking Bitcoin is outside the system or whatever. Bitcoin was developed by the banksters, by the central bankers. Bernanke has even Bernanke has even promoted Bitcoin. Okay, Ben Bernanke, the head of the Fed. So we know that Bitcoin is controlled. Okay, now they're ditching the Bitcoin. They're like, okay, we learned our lessons with Bitcoin was a prototype. Bitcoin was a prototype. They're done with Bitcoin. They're moving on to a new thing called R3, where they fixed a lot of the problems from Bitcoin, and they're calling it R3. They got all of the global mega banks on board with R3. Okay, that should really scare you, because what's going to happen is they're going to change all of your deposits, all of the globe's bank deposits, into R3. It's no longer going to be redeemable for cash. It's not going to be in euros or dollars or rubles or whatever. Your money's going to be in global R3 currency. So you're not going to be able to get cash out. Okay, so what they would do in that scenario is they would say you have a month to turn in all your cash for R3, and then what would happen is they take in $1,000 and they give you $700 in R3. Okay, so it's going to be a bail-in in that regard, where they steal your money by doing that. Okay, so that's where we're at. They've done this before. You know, they did with gold. They're like, you can no longer own gold. You have a month to turn in all gold. They took everybody's gold. They paid them $10 an ounce, and then after they got all the gold, they raised the price to $20 an ounce. So that's how they jacked everybody out of. They stole half of everybody's money, is what they did. All right, now, so that's what they would do, the global bail-in, blah, blah, blah. But until then, what they have to do to get that is they have to have every country having a central bank. But in the meantime, they're going to try to phase out cash in all these countries. They're going to see how it works by phasing it out. You know, in Europe, by doing making a maximum cash purchase limit. You know, and then in America, they're going to say, oh, well, you can't use cash for certain types of transactions, what they already did in Louisiana. You can't use it for used heater coils or whatever. And precious metals, you cannot trade precious metals for cash in Louisiana anymore, like gold, silver, things like that. You cannot trade for cash anymore. So that's what they'll do. They'll start limiting the things that you can use cash for. They'll probably start adding a transaction fee in banks for dealing with cash. So that's the next step. So since we know that's the next step, we know that the way to get around it is to go to the bank now and get out as much cash as you can, so you can avoid that transaction fee. But you want to keep enough in the bank so you don't have to deposit cash back into the bank. So it's a very fine line. You want your, here's the go-to message. You want your checking account to be in the bank. You want your savings account to be in cash. Okay, that's the take-home message. Is that your day-to-day, month-to-month, week-to-week cash flow needs to be in a checking account, and then all of your savings should be in cash. So that's what we're looking at, because we want to have that money in cash now before they add a transaction fee. They're going to add like a 3% transaction fee most likely, so that if you want to take cash out in the future, you're going to have to pay 3% of your withdrawal. So that's where we're at. I hope that all makes sense. You get a big global picture of what we're heading into with, some would call it the mark of the beast system. We're not in the mark of the beast land. We're only in the fourth seal in Revelation. Revelation 6:8 is where we are at in the Bible. We're nowhere near the Antichrist, mark of the beast and stuff. So this is all preliminary, but anyway, the mark of the beast, all that type of stuff will be in about 1,200 years from now. So we personally don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about Revelation 6:8 and surviving this time. We have to survive the war, the bloodshed, the diseases, the famine, and the wild animals, as it may be. So, anywhoot, and cults. It's the age of cults. So, anywhoot, thanks for watching. I am the Nature Hacker. Do work.